My name is William Draven. I'm your ghost host tonight for the 10 craft beers that you will be enjoying in this virtual beer festival Halloween edition. So sit back, crack a top, and let's have some spooky fun together. Enjoy.
Trapping out the bando. Hey, 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 hey.
Okay, yeah, get all the girls up here real quick.
Come on in here. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm James Owen. I'm the lead brewer here at Mason Ale Works.
Kevin Turner, the California sales manager. And here today to talk a little bit about Mason Ale Works. Quick background on the brewery. Started in 2015 in Oceanside, and then 2017 we moved to a little bigger location in San Marcos, California. That's where we are right now. So we've got all the brewing space, a restaurant, and a little bowling alley, some outdoor activity as well. We've got, as far as the brewery, we've got distribution in Southern California, ranging all the way to Oregon, Nevada, and missing some other spots. Some on the East Coast as well.
So we're stoked that you guys could join us for this festival around Halloween time, because we actually have a pretty weird story about this bowling alley. A lot of the brewers will be here late at night when all the restaurant staff goes home, and the machines, the bowling machines, will sometimes randomly turn on, and nobody knows why. Like, we'll just walk back there and turn them off, and then you'll walk back into the brewery, and the next thing you hear is like the sound of dropping pins. So all of us are about 95% sure that the bowling alley here is haunted. All right, so today we have our Willy Time Belgian White Ale, as well as a nice orange candy to pair it with. Willy Time is a traditional Belgian wit with orange peel, coriander, and grapefruit peel added to give it a lot of like juicy notes. Just pairs perfectly with this orange candy.
Coming in at 5%, and then on the cans it has all the descriptors and tasting notes as well, but the citrus really comes through the beer as well as the orange candy to pair nicely. Oh, what do you think of the beer?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's so cold. Oh, pretty bad.
What's up, Virtual Beer Fest Halloween peeps? Spooky season is upon us. You know what that means. Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see this our town of Halloween. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Halloween, everybody make a scene, trick or treat, and the neighbor's gonna clap. In our town, everybody scream in this town of Halloween. I am the one hiding under your bed, secret shopping, eyes glowing red. I am the one hiding under your stairs, secrets like snakes and spiders in my hair. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. In our town, we call home, everyone hail to the pumpkin song. In our town, don't we love it now, everybody's waiting for the next surprise. Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see this our town of Halloween. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, pumpkins scream in the dead of night. This is Halloween, everybody make a scene, trick or treat till your neighbor's gonna die. Right in our town, everybody scream in our town of Halloween. I am the one hiding under your bed, secret shopping, eyes glowing red. I am the one hiding under your stairs, fingers like snakes and spiders in my hair. This is Halloween, this is Halloween, 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 Halloween. In our town, we call home, everyone hail to the pumpkin song. In our town, don't we love it now, everybody's waiting for the next surprise. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Phil McNitt with Modern Times Beer. I'm our Director of Sales and Marketing. And for those of you who aren't familiar with our brewery, we started in 2013 here in San Diego. We're in our barrel warehouse right now, possibly a haunted barrel warehouse. No idea what ghosts those are, but actually when we moved into this, it was a consignment shop first, and they kind of had just vacated and left. And in the corner that we're sitting in before we put the barrels here, actually, it was just a bunch of leftover mannequins that they had left over. So like, just imagine, 80 to 100 just weird mannequins in a corner when we were kind of coming into the brewery for the first time over here. And we're like, all right, cool. Definitely no ghosts here, I imagine. But we've been making beer in general, like I said, down here in San Diego since 2013. We've become, pretty well known for our hazy IPAs, our barrel-aged stouts. But one of the beers that, really helped us launch, like right from the get-go, and kind of helped us kind of explore our whole, the stout experience that you see here, is our Black House Coffee Stout. So one thing you might not know about us, we're also a coffee company. So we have a roastery here on site. When we first started, that was a tiny little 3-pound roaster, basically, that we, actually I think it was about like a 3-kilo roaster, so probably closer to 15 pounds. But it was in the corner of the brewery, and we were just making it for Black House. And it was a mix of our Ethiopia and a Sumatran coffee to get kind of like a chocolatey blueberry character. And one of the things we really wanted to do with this, and this was kind of like 2013, we were just trying to figure out how do we make a really, really drinkable coffee stout. One of the challenges was ABV, so we brought it down to 5.8%, but then you lose a lot of your body, so we added oats to kind of add a little bit more mouthfeel to it. And the other challenge is sometimes coffee beers could be a little bit too bitter or acidic. So instead of adding ground coffee into like the boil part of the process for us, we did, we just called it, dry beaning, basically. Like we took a whole coffee bean, roasted it, put it, a bunch of them in like a giant bag, which at the time basically looked like, remember what your teacher used to carry dodgeballs in for PE? So basically just a giant cheesecloth sack that we dropped into our fermenter and let it sit for a few days to kind of infuse it with coffee flavor. Really hardly any caffeine in here. That's one of the questions that we get, so it's a super negligible amount. But it kind of all comes together into this really roasty, chocolatey, fudge-like characteristic that we get from this beer. And it's personally one of my favorites, so I absolutely love it. I hope you do too. Cheers. Oh wow, joined by the crazy ghost of modern times and my friends here drinking at home. For you drinking this beer, one of the first things obviously is the aroma that pops out. And I think the best way to kind of describe it is you get kind of like the burnt edge of like a batch of like fresh baked brownies. The coffee from it, what's that noise? Terrifying. You get the kind of the coffee aromas from it, but it's coming through a lot of that Sumatran coffee, which is what we'd associate with being more, kind of like a darker roast, a little bit more chocolatey. What you get from like the tasting notes, actually, you would get a little bit more of that Ethiopia, which I'm gonna try right now, so I have it fresh in my mind and on my palate. Wow. So that Ethiopia coffee I was mentioning to you, which is the one that we use for our Black House cold brew and coffee blend as well, you get a ton of blueberry out of there. So that blueberry, it's one of those things when I first started drinking like more newer wave coffees, I was kind of surprised because what allows you to have that and kind of keep that characteristic that's part of the varietal is just that medium roast, a little bit on the lighter side, so it's kind of not overpowering with the character of the actual roasting process itself. And I think that's fantastic. You get, again, more chocolate, you get a super smooth mouthfeel. At 5.8%, this is a stout that even right now, San Diego October is basically like second summer. It is still refreshing for me to enjoy. And then also, I've got these candies in my pocket, like a creepy Werther's Original uncle, and these are going to be some coffee candies that you guys are receiving to taste and pair with the beer. So you'll have a little bit of that kind of like matching up with the sensory flavors, both from the coffee and the beer, coffee and the candy, sort of just doubling up on an incredible thing. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and it's something I'm going to keep drinking even when this camera turns off, I assure you. Do I need to say anything? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know if you just B-roll too. So I'm just going to just say what's coming to my mind while I'm thinking about it.
What are you doing again, Phil? Are you talking to yourself again, Phil?
No. It's crazy.
Get back to work.
You know, as I'm enjoying this Black House Coffee Modern Times Stout beer, I'm reminded of a creepy little story that I want to share with you. This is a true story and goes back to my childhood. And it is my introduction to the world of the paranormal. My name is William Draven, and I'm a paranormal investigator out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. When I was a little boy, my parents used to constantly tell me to not be afraid of monsters. There's no monsters under the bed, there's no monsters in the closet, there's no monsters in the toilet. So please, leave our room and go sleep in yours. And that was my life for the first 7 or so years. But monsters are real. They do exist. And one found its way into my household. The year was 1987. My father was diagnosed with cancer. It was terminal. And the doctors did their best to save him, but despite putting up a valiant effort, my father, 2 years later, succumbed to the nasty creature that is cancer. And I wish that's where the story ended. But that's just the beginning. Shortly after my father passed, lots of weird things began happening in the house. Stuff that you wouldn't normally think was unusual for a household with a young child running around, except all the stuff that I got blamed for wasn't me doing it. Case in point, one of the things I remember clearly, my mother came home from working a double. My mom was a nurse. She worked for a convalescent home on the outside of town, and she often worked long hours. She got home late. She threw her keys on the dining room table. At least that's where she put them. I was in my room playing with my Transformers at the time. And she went into the kitchen to start making dinner. Short time later, I heard my full name get bellowed from the kitchen. And every child knows the minute your middle name comes out, you're in big trouble. So I came running from my bedroom into the kitchen, and my mom asked me point blank, where are my keys? I was confused at her question. I hadn't touched them. It's not something I would play with. And I tried to explain to her that I was in my bedroom playing with my toys. Apparently, Optimus Prime and Starscream was having an epic battle. But my mom didn't believe me. And being the only child with no pets in the house, there was no one else for me to blame it on. So after sorely getting punished for touching my mom's important things, I was sent to my room. Later on that evening, Mom was watching TV in the living room, and I was in there as well. And she found her keys, just haphazard, sitting on a little end table next to my father's lazy boy chair. The same end table that my father would put his paper on once he was done reading it. This, in and of itself, isn't magnificent, it's not spooky, it's not paranormal. But when stacked up against the evidence of all the other things that were happening at the time, this was curious, to say the least. Although my mom would never admit it when I was little, we both heard my father cough in the middle of the night, even though my father wasn't there. The floorboards would creak from his room to the bathroom and back as if somebody was walking down the hallway that linked all of our rooms together. And finally, the coup de grace, the moment that definitively changed my life forever came the July following my father's death. We were out of school on summer vacation, and I was happily playing in the living room on my Nintendo system. My mom was in the kitchen doing whatever mothers do in the kitchen, and we heard a giant crash come from the basement. A unearthly crash. It sounded like an entire bookshelf full of glass and metal upended itself onto the floor. I sprang up from my Nintendo. My mom sprang from the kitchen. We both met each other at the basement door, adjacent to the bathroom door. And we both looked at each other for just a moment before I flung the door open and sped down the stairs. You see, in the basement, about where we heard the sound come from, years ago, my father built my mom a giant wooden homemade bookshelf. My mom was really big into crafts and hobbies, and her current flavor of the year was canning goods. So if she could slam preserves or peaches or any other type of fruit into a jar and throw a lid on it, she was all about that. And it sounded like the entire shelving unit toppled over and crashed to the ground. We were expecting an ungodly mess by the time we got down there. But when we arrived on the scene where that shelf was, wouldn't you know it, not a speck of dust was out of place. Every jar accounted for, every screw and nail perfectly positioned to where it was before this crash was heard. We turned the basement over, thinking maybe it came from somewhere else, and we found no evidence of anything falling over that would have made that loud of a sound. Dumbfounded and standing in the basement, looking up at my mom for answers, my mom, for the first time in my existence with her to that date, slipped up. She nonchalantly said, "That's just your father, sweetie. It's his sense of humor. He's just checking on us, making sure we're okay." And you heard the record scratch in my head. I swear you could, because right there, my mom said my dad's a ghost. All these years, she's been telling me that ghosts and goblins and ghouls and witches are just fantasy. And now she's telling me my father is one. Well, I wish I could say that my experiences with the paranormal ended that summer. Unfortunately, they had just begun. But that is a story for a different beer. Cheers.
Hello, Bruce from Shipyard here, and I'm going to talk today about one of our most popular beers, our Sea Dog Wild Blueberry Wheat. It's so good that I can't keep my paws off it. I think that was the thinking behind the change of the name from Sea Dog Wild Blueberry, a little bit of a mouthful, to simply Blue Paw. Because people up here, once they try it, literally, they can't keep their paws off it. And it is a year-round beer, but my buddy back here behind my shoulder might argue with that a little bit and take exception. He thinks it's pretty darn good during Halloween time as well. Here's a few particulars. 4.7 ABV. This is a wheat-based beer, but it's got British two-row pale, malted wheat, a little bit of light Munich, and just a dash of Willamette and Hallertauer hops. Done in a nice balance to retain the blueberry aromas up front and a little tartness on the finish and a little bit of sweetness in between. We have a delicious golden ale. It's wheat-based, and you'll notice how nice and clear the beer is. It's because we do go to the extra step of filtering the wheat. A little difficult to do, but it allows the flavor profile to be a little brighter, shines through a little more boldly, particularly in that nice aroma that you get. You do get that little bit of fruit in there. Yep. Soft, light, filling. Oh, that blueberry just kicks in the flavor profile right there. Almost kind of hanging on my lips right now. A little tartness in the finish. Nice and smooth, really drinkable. If you're blue, You don't have to be blue. Grab a couple of Blue Paws. One or two will do the trick in my opinion, and enjoy.
Hey, hope you enjoyed the Wild Blueberry Ale. Tastes great. Get off the couch and sing this time. Please, I'm begging you. Help us. Come on, you'll know the words.
Living easy, living free. Season ticket out, one-way ride. Asking nothing, leave me be. Taking everything in my stride. Don't need reason, don't need rhyme. Ain't nothing that I'd rather do. We're going down by the time. My friends are gonna be there too. Sing it! I'm on the highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. No stop sign, speed limit. Nobody's gonna slow me down like a wheel, gonna spin it. Nobody's gonna mess me around. Hey, Satan, paid my dues, playing in a rocking band. Hey, mama, look at me. I'm on my way to the promised land. I'm on the highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Don't stop me. Ah! Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Highway to hell. Oh! Stick around, there's more music and beer.
Hey everybody, Andy the Beer Man from Belching Beaver Brewery, and welcome to the Virtual Beer Fest Halloween edition. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hope it's not too scary, not too spooky. As I mentioned, I'm here with Belching Beaver. In your wonderful box of beers, you should have the world famous peanut butter milk stout. Just a little background on who we are. We've been around for 8 years. Actually, this week we celebrate our 8th anniversary. Super excited about sharing 8 years in the San Diego beer community. Now we're distributed across well, not across the country, but we're in 14 states and 13 countries around the world. We just hit some milestones for us. We are now the 80th largest brewery in the entire United States, and we're the 6th largest independent brewery right here in lovely San Diego. The beer that put us on the map way back almost 8 years ago was our peanut butter milk stout. Our brewmaster, Troy Smith, makes a beautiful traditional milk stout, and thought that was going to be our flagship, and we decided to start playing around with some different flavors. We did a chai version. We did, yes, a pumpkin spice version for all the Karens out there. But the one that really hit it out of the park for us was the peanut butter milk stout. We worked real closely with our friend Dan over at Mother Earth in Vista as well. He turned us on to the flavors and the flavor profile that he was using. We worked on it, we perfected it, we dialed it in, and we have the delicious elixir that you have right here in front of you. At least you should have it in front of you by now. If you're not drinking, well, I think it's time we start, wouldn't you say? And as a matter of fact, I'm going to join in with you. This wonderful peanut butter milk stout, rich, chocolatey notes, hints of peanut butter, very creamy, smooth, sexy, like me. I have way too much fun doing this. Let's crack one. And of course, it doesn't open properly. You know, that's what happens when you're on video and TV and all that fun stuff. Nothing ever goes right the first time. Also, in your box, you should have some candy. What candy, might you ask? What else but a peanut butter cup? If you're going to pair beer and you're going to pair candy, peanut butter milk stout and a peanut butter cup, I think it's a pretty perfect combination. So let's try this out. First, I'm going to open up my palate a little bit with a sip of the beer. Get that rich chocolate, hints of coffee. Chomp down that peanut butter cup. But peanut butter is sticky, and sometimes you can't talk when you have peanut butter in your mouth. So now I know why people give their dogs peanut butter, because it's really fun to watch. And now I'll have the peanut butter milk stout. Now that is a spooky combination. Hey, thanks again for participating in the Virtual Beer Fest, the Halloween edition. And remember, any time of year, 24/7, 365, Belching Beaver brings damn good times. Cheers. So Casper, how's the peanut butter milk stout? Spooky enough for you?
You know what? That actually looked pretty good. I want to try that. So we'll start with a peanut butter cup. Pretty standard. And Belching Beaver's peanut butter milk stout. I can't imagine peanut butter beer and what that would taste like. But let's find out. God damn, that's good. Well, shit. I can say shit, right? Anyways, that's a good beer. And you know what goes good with a good beer? A good ghost story. The year was 1890. The location was near Las Vegas, Nevada, about 35 miles southwest of Las Vegas, a little town called the Goodsprings way station, later renamed Jean, Nevada in 1905. A rich family had moved into the neighborhood, the Nimmers. Old man Nimmer made a fortune on ore hauling, and given that gold had recently been discovered a few years back in the Keystone Mine, there was a lot of ore to be hauled. Not to mention iron ore and some lead deposits and some lode as well. So the area was rich in mining opportunities, especially for young miners willing to break their backs to strike it rich, if you were. And old man Nimmer had 3 daughters. His youngest, his most beautiful, her name was Anna. And Anna was desperately in love with somebody from the wrong side of the tracks as far as her father was concerned. He was a miner, a young miner by the name of John Smith. And Anna was head over heels for him. She wanted to marry him, she wanted to have kids with him, and her father really didn't approve of the union. But if his daughter was happy, he was willing to go along for it. Unfortunately for Anna, there's only one thing John loved more than her: gold. And the Keystone Mine by the 1890s had dried up almost completely. Unfortunately, John wasn't happy with this. He had heard legends, rumors that in a nearby town called Calico, over the border in California, gold was still plentiful. So he promised Anna that he would come back for her if she only waited on him. And she gave him her blessings, and he trotted off to strike it rich in Calico. Well, the days would turn into weeks, and the weeks would go by into months, and Anna had not heard hide nor hair of her beloved. Worrying that John had an accident or worse, she took it upon herself to ride out to Calico. When she arrived in Calico, her worst fears were confirmed. John wasn't injured, although I'm sure she probably wished he had been. She found John in the arms of another woman. Furious and enraged, Anna returned to Las Vegas. This is where it gets interesting. If you believe the folklore, Anna had invested her life savings into a beautiful silk scarlet red wedding dress that she intended to be married in. But upon her arrival back in Vegas, Anna sunk into a depression. And according to legend, she also practiced some dark arts. She had placed a curse on John Smith. The girl that he was with, a local prostitute, fell ill to a plague, died a few weeks later, and then John went missing in a mining accident, entombed within a mine after a cave-in. After the deaths of John and his new girlfriend circulated Las Vegas, Anna herself fell ill and died 6 months later to the day, December 27th, 1890. Some say the devil himself came to collect her soul. Some say she made a bargain with the devil to place a curse on John and his new girlfriend. And some say Anna's tortured soul still walks the graveyard where she was buried nearby in Goodsprings, Nevada. They say when the moon is high, and especially in late December, following a storm, if you look out into the graveyard, you will see a woman walking the stones wearing a scarlet red wedding dress, veil over her face. And the sight of this is an ill omen to behold, and bad luck usually follows. Is Anna still tortured to this day over the betrayal of her boyfriend? Does she curse people who unfortunately run into her late at night? Has the devil truly cursed her soul for all eternity? Why don't you take a trip to Goodsprings for yourself? Maybe you'll find out.
Oh, hey, didn't see you walk in. My name's Ryan, I'm with Stone Brewing, and today you guys are gonna be enjoying the October version of our Enjoy By. Enjoy By 10/31/20. This beer is packed with hops and hops and hops, 10 different types to be exact. And even though it's the same recipe every single time, each version of it is gonna be a little bit different. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. So people always associate our gargoyle as like a demon or a devil of some sort. So we're always associated as like a Halloween type of brewery. But in reality, the gargoyle is actually more of a protector. It's to ward off bad ingredients from the beer that you're consuming. So all 10 of those hops that are in that beer right now are the best hops that you can get. Bartholomew, where's my beer? Nicely done. Stone, enjoy by 1031. Enjoy it by that date, otherwise you're failing in life. Each of these packages will come with a lemon head, which should complement the bitterness and the citrus side of the IPA very well. So enjoy at your own risk. Whew! Smell the hops from over here. So this is a beer that is packed with 10 different types of hops. They're all insanely bitter, but they have a very clean citrus finish to them as well. So feel free to enjoy them in your very own stone glass. I mean, you know, you're gonna have to get it yourself. It's not coming with this one. It smells like hops. No greater smell in the world. Stone, enjoy by 1031, and lemon heads. Hoppy, bitter, strong. Lemon just accentuates it. I'm gonna have to go to the dentist tomorrow.